Hello guys, welcome back to this tutorial. If you're just joining us, this is tutorial on web development course that is being anchored by your favorite tutor Gabi Tech. So by now I expect that you should be having such enthusiasm and anticipation on what this course is going to be all about. From the last video, we talked about CSS layouts and flexbox, and then we are going into CSS properties, CSS positioning properties. And so, if this is the first video you're watching, I encourage you to go back to the previous ones on the playlist so that you can follow up. All right. So, for this video, we are going to go into or discuss what CSS positioning is all about. Positioning in CSS, it helps us to alter or to change, to arrange the elements on the web page. Let's dive in. Okay, hit the notification bell to subscribe for more videos. Now let's create a new file. We are still running this file on the live server. You could see I actually created this table of content. I will still show you what happened here so that we can also follow with this. All right, so I'm gonna create a new file that will name it css positioning .html. Always remember to name it that way, .html. That makes it an HTML file. Use the shortcut to load the basic HTML structure. In this case, we'll rename this file as CSS positioning. Alright, let's leave it at that. And for this project, I'm gonna use internal CSS. All right, so let's create just 4 boxes or divs where we'll see how this CSS property plays out. So I'm gonna create this as box, and it's good you can have more than one class name, while giving a class name to an element. In that case, I would want this to be named, what the viewer will see here is static. I want to add another name here as static, so I'm giving it 2 classes, box and then static. Let me copy this into 4 more places. It's good in CSS we have 5 different positions. The first is static, the second is relative. Now the default position in CSS is static. Elements that are positioned relative, they tend to move away relative to their original position. They tend to move from the original position. They may remain depending where you move them to, using top, bottom, right, or left. All right, so just pay rapt attention as this video will show you all about CSS positioning property. After relative, we have absolute. Elements that are positioned absolute, they tend to move relative to their nearest positioned ancestor. When I mean ancestor, I mean parent element. They move to the nearest positioned relative parent element. This may not be clear to you until we practicalize them. All right, so just pay attention. I'm making this one sticky. and I'm naming it sticky. Then for this one, I want it fixed. So these are the 5 different positions that we have in CSS: static, relative, absolute, sticky, and fixed. Okay, let me load this on the live server. Let me open it with live server so that we'll see it. I'm gonna copy this to the Google Chrome, my favorite browser. What we have here is what we have here. So let's still place our code side by side. All right, so that we'll be seeing what we are doing. Now, let's call the element using, let's style it. I said we're going to use internal CSS. So for this point, I would want us to style box. And when I call box, every element here that has the name, class name box, this is box, this is box, this is box, all of them, they will answer. All right, so let's style box. Let's give box general width of about 200 pixels. You won't see it now until you add background color to it. Let's make the padding, let's add a padding to it of about 10 pixels. You could see the effect. If I decide to add border to it now, you would now see the more effects. 2 pixels solid and red. Hope you are seeing it now, but I'll still comment that line because I don't need it. Let me add margin to it. Margin of about 10 pixels we do, and then let me also add a height of about 80 pixels. Very good. We are having these rectangles here. What will I do with it so that you know what this is gonna be? Let me make the font to be bold. Font weight 700. Let me also do some other thing we did during the typography. Text transform, so that they will change to capital letter. Text transform in uppercase. All right, and text align. Let's enter it. Very good. We are good to go. Now the next one I want to call is, let me call static, the one that has the class name static. That's the only one that will respond to this effect I'm going to give to it. Let me give it a background color of blue. Now watch what happens. Blue. I would like to comment this. Okay, let me still leave it. Let me add the color to be ash 333. Would that be obvious? Let me use ash FFF. So you're seeing the white color on the static. You're no longer seeing it on these ones because the background is originally white. Okay. If I say position static, it doesn't change anything here because it is the default position. It doesn't change it. Now let me go to the next one that has position, the name relative. So let me give it a background color of green. Hope you're following. So give it a background color of green. You could not see the color that is there because we've given a green color to it. And then let me say position relative. It may not change it as well because it is still there until I add some other properties such as top, the top will make it have some position away from the top. Depending, if I say 20 pixels, it will now change it 20 pixels away from the top. If I say 20%, okay, 50 pixels, let's be more obvious. You could see it changing 50 pixels away from the top. It is counting these 50 pixels away from the top, this static, this static. Let me make it 100 pixels and you'll see it move away as well. It is here covering this other one that is here. But if I give the one that is under it a higher Z index, it will come on top of it. Let's go to it. Let me also add left. So this is going to be some inches, some pixels away from the left. If I say 50 pixels, it will move it away from the left. I hope you're seeing it. So we use this positioning to alter the default position of an element on the web page. Whatever you want it to be, whatever you want to put it, it's gonna be there. All right. So let's go to the next. Quickly finish it up. I don't want to stretch this video. So absolute. I'm calling the element that has a class name absolute. It has a class name absolute. I want to give it a background color of orange background color. Okay, let me use red since I already have red there. This is it. You're not seeing it, but if I position, okay, let's position it absolute, of course. You could see it. It is now absolute to the nearest parent element. In this case, it is now on top. It has altered its default position. I could also use this top, left, right, bottom to move it away further to where I want it to be. Okay, in this case, I would want to make it have a top of 50 pixels away from the top. It is now up here, 50 pixels away from the top. And what is obvious now is there is no parent element. There is no parent element that has been positioned relative. This one that you're seeing here that is relative is not the parent element for this element. The default parent element now is the body. That is why it is positioned 50 pixels away from the body that is taking the relative element, that is taking the parent relative element. Either you say parent or ancestor element. So the body is now the default parent relative element. And this particular one is now positioned absolute to the parent element. All right, let me also add another left 50 pixels as well. So it will move it 50 pixels away. If I decide to, I will still do it another one so that you see it. You will see it. Oh, okay, let's just go on. Let's go on. Instead of using left, I will want to use right here so that it will move away from the right, 50 pixels away from the right. All right. The next one is, as for this one that is positioned relative element, supposing I decide to add Z index. Z index is another property in CSS that if it has a higher Z index, it comes on top of another element. If it has lower Z index, for instance, I'm using -1 and it will go under it. You now see the one that is sticky is not on top of it. It's not on top. But if I increase it to 2 or is now above. So Z index has its own effect in CSS positioning. For this, I would want to make this one to have that -1. So let it go under. All right, let's call this one that is positioned. Let's get the element that has the class name sticky. So what I want to do now is to give this a background color. Let me use orange and then position it sticky and add top property 0 from the top. Let me 20 pixel. You may not really notice the effect of this sticky at this point, but I will use another one to show it to you so that you will see it. Position sticky, what it does is it sticks elements to a particular position until scrolling event is past certain point. Until scrolling element is past certain point. As I said, I will use another one to show you how this is much more effective. Supposing I add Z index of -5 on this, Z index -5. Of course, -5 is lesser than -1, so it will go under. It will go beneath. But let me still remove it. Maybe I'll add Z index of 1. It's still on top because 1 is greater than -1. You're not seeing the effect of Z index. Okay, I'm just summarizing this. Let's get the element that has a class name fixed and work on it. So let's give fixed a background color of purple. Then let's position it fixed. Position fixed. It makes an element fixed to a particular position. And supposing I decide to stretch this, oftentimes we use this for header to make it fixed, or an element that is used to toggle between dark and light, or scroll to the top, dark and light background of the page. So we use position fixed to fix it at a certain point. For this, I would like to fix it bottom 0. You could see it go down. And if I use as well right 0, and then let me add left 0, you will now see it stretch right 0. Oh, I'm supposed to use left side to stretch, and then width 100%. You could see it stretch to fill the 100% of the entire screen because I've made it left 0, right 0, and bottom 0. Now I've fixed this to the base. I'm gonna give you assignment at the end of this particular tutorial so that you develop a fixed header, then use flexbox that we learned in the previous video to arrange the menu items on the header so that they will appear side by side, being responsive. All right. Still pay attention. As I said, I'm going to use another content to show you the scrolling event of this sticky, the scrolling effect of sticky. All right. Okay, let's go back to the HTML and then we see, let's add that element. Let me create this dot container. It's gonna be a div that will be holding all other boxes. Let's name this I don't want to give these divs class name, so let them be empty div, no class. Not gonna be empty, but it will not have any class. I would want to call it with another CSS property that will be more dynamic instead of calling it with box or calling with static or whatever. So in this case, I'm going to use nth child. So pay attention to see what this does and how it is effective in this positioning tutorial. All right. So let me name this box one. Box one. I'll still copy this into 3 more places. Box 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, let's leave it at that. Box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4. So I will call container, which is the parent element, dot container, and give it its own positioning, and the container is a parent element. So in this case, I want to position this container relative so that the next element coming to it could be positioned absolute. That is when you see the effect of what I told you about what positioning absolute does. It is moved to the nearest ancestor relative element. All right, let me give it a background color. Background color of maybe A108 AF. Is that okay? This is purple. All right. I can still alter it. Let me make it darker. No, the darkness is too much. Sky blue. That'll be good. All right. I would want to also make font weight to be bold. Bold. Then color will be white. FFF, that's the code for white. And then let me give it a height of about 200 VH. Remember, this one has been fixed to the bottom here. Even though I'm scrolling, the fixed position is still there, not moving. Now, see the effect of the sticky. Sticky is now there. It is when I move, it is now sticked to a particular position. As I told you, until scrolling is past and a particular space. So until scrolling is past a particular point, it will not move. Even if I'm scrolling my page now, it is still there. It is still sticky. Until it is past a certain point, that is when it begins to move. Watch it now moving. It remains, it is sticked. This is position sticky. This is position fixed, sticky, fixed. I hope you are following now. I would want you to apply this in your own design, and then, if possible, send the code in the comment section or send it to my email, which I'm going to put at the end of this course. So try it out on your own and see what you could come up with. All right. All right. Thank you for paying attention. Hit the notification bell. Let me still finish up this so that you will see more of what this positioning could do and making it dynamic using nth child. All right. Position relative. That's the most important thing you would see. The parent element has been positioned relative. For now, it has altered the fixed element. It has covered it. Maybe let me give this Z index of -6. You could see it is no longer being covered because I've given this one a Z index of -6. The positioned fixed element is now showing. All right. Tell me your concerns about this course. If there's anything you're not getting clearly, hit the comment section and let us know. Now, I would want to address the box one. I would want to address the box one. How do I get it? dot container div using pseudo selector nth child. Now I can say nth child 1 or nth child 2 or nth child 3 because there are how many children here? 1, 2, 3, 4 children inside a container. So that's how we address them as nth child. Even if I should move this box 4 to become the first one, whatever effect I add will not be applied to this box 1. It will still be that first one. Look at what I'm talking about now. So this end side, I want to give it a background color of ash 09167. That's a blue color. Yeah, very good. You can see it now. Let me give it a height so that it will be more obvious. A height of about 250 pixels. I hope you're seeing it now. Very good. Supposing I move this box 4 back to this place, you could see the effect on box 1 because I'm using nth child. I'm not calling any particular class. Whatever whatever element that assumes the first position here becomes the nth child 1. This is why it is more dynamic than using a stable or static attribute, addressing an element by its attribute name or class name or identity name, ID. All right. The next thing I would want us to do for this nth child here is to add, let's position it using left 80 pixels away from the left. Okay, I've not added position. So position should be absolute. So absolute to the parent relative element. Watch it and see what it does. So it is inside this parent element. It's not going to move away from the parent. Unlike this one, when I position it really absolute, it moved up away from other ones. It is now relative to the body, which is the parent element. This one, the parent element now is container. So it is within that container and it is moving 80 pixels away from the left side of that container. All right. Let me add another, which is maybe top. Let me give top 100 pixels. So it's going to come down from that bottom. You could see it. I can as well add width to it. Let it take a width of about, let's say, 250 pixels. All right, this is a box now. If you want, you could also add border radius. This border radius, if you do not know, it's what makes the edges curved. What makes the edges curved? If you like 5 pixels, it will curve small. Let me also add padding so that the box, the item will go inside. Padding of 10 pixels generally. You could see it. Maybe I would want to increase the border radius to 10. Not much difference. I wanted to make it a circular box, but let's leave it for now. Or do you want it? Okay, let me just tell you what you do. Give it 50%, even though it will cut the item off. So that is it. It will cut it off. I know it is going to go off. But what I will do to make it happen is to display it as flex, align items. I will center it, align items, center. Am I doing center? Then justify content center. It will go to the center. Justify content, center it as well. This box 1 will be on the center. I hope you got it now. So this is how you can make it work. I just want to make it be on the center of the page. All right, let's get the next one. Dot container div nth child. You could say nth last child. Once last child, it is the last child. So nth child 2. For this second one, I would want us to make it sticky all the more. Let's position it sticky. Um, all right, I'm gonna give it a background color first of, let me use this sky blue, but I'm going to make it more bright. All right, let's give it a width and height, width of about 300 pixels, height of about the same 300 pixels, then position it sticky. Sticky. Remember, it is not covering this other one until I give it a lower Z index, which I would like to do. Z index of about -4. You should go under it. All right. So just tell me what your concerns about this course, and then uh and remember what I told you. If I decide to move this one to come as the second, the effect I added now would be applied to it. You will see it as the third one, box 3, because I'm using nth child. All right, hit the notification bell. Tell me your concerns about this. Ask questions if you're confused using the comment section. Most importantly, I would like you to perform an exercise that will help you perform an exercise. That exercise I want you to do is, so the exercise will be for you to create a header, just a new file, maybe name it anything, create a header, position it fixed, add some elements on the header, use flexbox as we learned from the previous video to align them side by side. Now you could look at this, the project we're working on. Now the header has been fixed. I fixed it. You could see all other items are going under it. Now this part is positioned sticky. So I can be scrolling this part, whereas the entire page is not being scrolled. So let me break it down. This page, this is the main page. I also use flexbox here to align this item and this item side by side. And then this item is positioned sticky. This item is positioned relative. So this one will begin to move at a certain point. Watch it. While I'm moving the main page, the sticked part is still there. It will begin to move now. When I get a certain point, the header has been positioned fixed. So I would want you to give this a trial. This is a simple portfolio web page. We are going to do it together. We are gradually cooking it. So come up with your questions, your concerns. Thank you for paying attention even to this point. Ciao.